Well, moving on, in Los Angeles, California, the entertainment capital of the world, young Asian Americans say they are experiencing a new and growing sense of cultural identity, finding that it is hip to be Asian in the United States. You got that right.
Some of that, and hey, you're one of those hip Asians, aren't you?
Thank you so much.
Well, some of that Asian identity is being shared across a cafe table with a drink called Boba. On assignment's Philip Alexiou talked with reporter Elizabeth Lee about the trend. First, a little of her report.
That would be all for you guys?
On any evening, after 9 o'clock, college students and professionals pack the factory tea bar. But this bar serves no alcohol. There is only sweetened tea, often served with ice, milk, and an import from Taiwan. Large, chewy tapioca pearls called Boba.
They originally started as a street food or a street drink, kind of a dessert drink. But it's evolved since then, turning into, cafes and lounges as we see here in Southern California.
Well, when did these bars serving boba drinks really begin to crop up around the country? Has it been something that's been sort of gradual, or recently has it begun to explode around the Asian American community?
Well, boba drinks have been around for at least a decade in Southern California, but they were more in the form of a takeout drink. You just go order your drink and take it home with you. But the idea of lounges where people can go is relatively new in the last few years, and that's what the owner of the boba bar that I featured in this story told me about a year and a half, 2 years ago. He looked around and he saw that the drink was around, but there was no loungy type of place, at least in his neighborhood. And so he decided to open one, and it's been very successful.
Boba culture in Southern California has been embraced by people who came from across Asia, including Indonesian American Lina Yauri, who socializes at boba cafes.
We like relaxing, we like chatting, and then we like to enjoying the drink.
It's sort of created what I guess you're calling this boba generation. What exactly is that?
Yeah, it's young Asian Americans. They all speak English. They may or may not speak the native tongue in which they or their parents or grandparents spoke. But even though they identify with the country, their country of origin or where their ancestors came from, they would first identify themselves as Asian American before they would call themselves Chinese American, Thai American, or Korean American.
Tiffany Porter is a U.S.-born Chinese American.
The boba place is unique to Asian people, and so if you want that Asian comfort, you come to a boba place, and so that you can feel at home with a lot of other Asian people.
Tiffany Porter is part of what sociologist Oliver Wang calls the boba generation.
I think the boba generation, if you will, can span everything from today's teenagers up through people probably of my generation. I'm in my early 40s now, and so it covers a good 20 years or so.
Wang says in the last 20 to 30 years, what it means to be Asian in Southern California has changed. He says when he was growing up, Asian Americans felt invisible.
We performed well academically, but we weren't necessarily at the top of the kind of internal cultural hierarchy that existed within schools or within a community. And I think that's been a huge shift in this area in the last 20 to 30 years.
Now it's very different. They're seeing more Asian Americans in the media, whether it's news reporters or people in the movies and TV shows. They're also seeing, because of satellite, Asian American, Chinese and Korean soap operas and television shows. So they're seeing how other Asian Americans portray themselves, and YouTube being another media outlet. And so they feel empowered. There's a sense of Asian pride or a cool factor to be Asian here in Southern California that wasn't around 20, 30 years ago.
And this pride that they are feeling as if they aren't a minority, if you will, is this something that you really kind of only see in certain cities in the country? It's not really a label you would pin on Asian Americans all around the country, is that right?
That's correct, because first of all, there are more Asian Americans in these larger cities than in some other parts of the country, and of course in California there are more Asian Americans here. So the experience here is unique in many ways, but it's slowly spreading because Asians are the fastest growing immigrant group here in the U.S. So it is slowly spreading, but in certain parts of the country where there is still a small minority of Asians, it's still going to take some time before they experience what the Asian Americans are experiencing here in Southern California.
Boba, 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 drinking on boba.